Uh, Lovely time of worship. I just enjoy it so much. It's just, so fantastic. I consider myself a very emotional person, so it's very easy for music to touch me. So whenever I worship, it's just amazing. I mean, I hope you enjoy it as much. But it's just fantastic to think that we are singing to God, that we are playing for God. It's just amazing. So, before we go straight into the message, I would like to uh, give you three announcements, small announcements. Yeah. Number one is, have you downloaded the app? Whoever has a smartphone, yeah. Could you please, if you have not, could you please download that Bible app? It's very easy. You just go in Google Play or Apple Store. Just type Bible or the Bible, and the first one is the good one. Yeah. The way that it works is, well, it's fantastic because it has the Bible in many versions. It's really good. But once you get into the app, you can create an account just like Facebook or Twitter or Google. Yeah. So please create an account because I want to stay in touch. Well, we all want to stay in touch with everyone through this app. Yeah. So I'm gonna show you how it works in the course of this month, and you will be understanding it a little bit better. But please download that app in your phones or tablets, and please create your account. Yeah. Next thing, if we can go into the next slide, please. I want you all guys in the WhatsApp group, in the Charis WhatsApp group. Yeah. That's because sometimes that is the easiest way to stay in touch, yeah? So please, if you could give Audrey, in this case, well, Errol, because Audrey is not here, your phone number, if you have WhatsApp, yeah? So that we can add you to the group, yeah? Because in the group we'll be updating, keeping you up to date to what are we up to. But the way that we want to interact with you with that Bible app is going to be through WhatsApp, yeah? So essentially, what I want us to do all this week is download the Bible app, create an account, give your phone number if you want, if you have WhatsApp, to Errol, so he can give it to Audrey, and she can add you to the group. And at some point in the week, probably in the middle of the week, I will send you a link through that group. You just open it, and the app will take care of it. It's going to be a weekly devotional. So we all are going to read a devotional together. The fantastic thing is that it's a short devotional. It doesn't take you more than, 5 minutes? I've been doing this with my wife. How long does it take us, like, per day? 5 minutes of your day. Read it. And at the end of the devotional, you get to comment what you think or what God is telling you through that devotional. And the great thing is that everyone that is involved in that devotional can see that. And we can engage in a godly conversation at our own pace, at our own time, whenever we can. Yeah? Does that sound good to you? Yeah? I think it's a fantastic idea for us to stay in touch. Yeah? So, were those everything? Yeah, that's everything that we have so far. Yeah? So if we could go into the next slide, please. So today's topic, I was praying for God to reveal me the message that he wants to give you. And I say, well, what better occasion to talk about love than this week, yeah? Valentine's Day, yeah? Love is everywhere, apparently, yeah? Love is everywhere and is charging everyone a lot of money. So, mainly, I think. But, so this is a week when everyone remembers to love, yeah? When everyone remembers that they have a relative that is far away, when everyone remembers that they have friends, that they have family, and for some people even remember that they have a spouse, yeah? So, it's really interesting because, I'm just thinking about how love has been portrayed in movies or in our society, yeah? It's fascinating the different tastes for movies that men and women have, yeah? While we men like these movies where there is a tough guy killing like half a country and then coming out victorious, with the pretty girl and everything. Girls like this story about this man that does everything for this girl, even, die and leave 1,000 clues for her to find her own happiness. Well, anyways, well, it's just so interesting how diverse the tastes are, yeah? But there is a common trend in those movies that I would like us to focus on. That's how Hollywood and the society is trying to portray love and what it is teaching us that love is, yeah? Which at the end of everything, it is wrong. It is mostly wrong, yeah? The only way that we can learn how to love is by going into the Bible and read the greatest love story of all, which is God's love for us, yeah? So, what I would like to do is to tell you 5 ways in which true love can be demonstrated, or 5 things that true love is. Yeah? So, I would like to go for the first one, which seems like an intuitive one that we should really know, but we sometimes forget. Number 1, love is giving, not getting. Love is it's not about receiving, it's about giving, yeah? It's really interesting because you know that in America, couples that get married, they get to write their own vows, yeah? So this is a very common secular thing. So couples can now write their own vows, yeah? So that they read them at the time of the ceremony, yeah? And it's very interesting because I was researching and see what are the most common ones, yeah? And you can find sentences like this, yeah? I will love you as long as the sun shines. Well, what about night? Is love only for the day? Yeah? What about night? I will walk with you until the end of the earth. That sounds horrible for me. I just want to chill down and stay in the sofa. But most importantly, look. I love you because you make me laugh. You listen to me. And I love you because you are considerate and generous. I love you because you treat me with respect. Fair enough. What happens when that person is not able to make you laugh? What happens when that person is not able to listen to you? For whatever reason. What happens when that person is bad and nasty and not considerate and generous to you? Is that when you're going to stop loving the other person? What happens when the other person doesn't treat you with respect? And I'm just reading this wedding vow because this is what one spouse tells to another one. But take this to the context of just any relationship that you have. Your family, your son, your daughter, your father, anyone. Our society has come to the point in which it shows us that we are meant to love only when we receive good stuff. Yeah? So, I am going to love a person as long as that person is nice to me. Could you imagine what our destiny would look like if Jesus had acted that way? If Jesus had said, well, I love you, but only if you keep my commandments. And the thing is that we are instructed to love as God loved us. Yeah? The most popular verses is the next slide, as the previous one, 1 Corinthians 1:13. The Apostle Paul gives us a grasp of what true love is and how we can take that love in our relationships. 1 Corinthians 13:4-7 says, love is patient, love is kind, it does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud, it does not dishonor others, it is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered, it keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, and always perseveres. I want you to think about all what culture tries to teach us and how their definition of love, how its definition of love fits with this one. And you will see that it's very different in many ways. Yeah? I was thinking, in the past, not long ago, let's go 30 or 40 years ago, it was considered an act of matureness and an act of love for parents to stay together for the children. Nowadays, what society tells you is, no, just think about yourself. You deserve better. You deserve happiness. You don't know anything to your children. That's the thing that we are getting to. Yeah? And the thing is that as long as we don't come back to the very basics of what is love, it is very easy to fall into those lies, yeah? Because they don't say it as clearly as I am saying it now. I am saying it now with a tone that makes it sound wrong. But they put it in such gentle ways in which it actually gets to you, where it gets you, it makes you say, oh, well, yeah, that makes sense. I want to be happy. If that person wanted me to be happy, then, well, that person would be nicer to me. It makes sense. But that doesn't make it right. Yeah? So, when we think about love, we have to remember that it is about what we give and not about what we receive. Yeah? If we go to Matthew 20:28, we remember the words of Jesus, and he says, your attitude must be like my own, for I, the Messiah, did not come to be served, but to serve, and to give my life as a ransom for many. Jesus didn't come asking anyone to serve him. He became the very least for us because he loved us so much, even to those who rejected him. Yeah? Now, I am thinking, when you have a tough day at work, yeah, or you have a tough day, and then you arrive, and let's say that you have to meet your father, you have to meet your mom, you have to meet a friend, a relative, anyone, yeah? And you are tired, you just want to rest, you just want to have a nice meal and just forget about the day, yeah? And then you start questioning, why am I going with this person? This person is only going to start talking about their problems. This person is just going to ask me for whatever thing I can give. Why am I going? I shouldn't. It is not fair. I deserve rest. Well, again, think what would be of us if Jesus thought that way. So whenever we practice love, we have to think that it is not about what we can get, but what we can give. Yeah? And you can extrapolate that to any part of your life. When you go to your job and you go like, I should be paid more, or I have to deal with this person again, I have to deal with this situation again, it's unfair, why am I doing this? Or when you go to your work and say, I have to, meet all these projects and I don't know why am I doing this anymore? Well, rather than thinking what your job is giving you, think what you can give to your job. There is one personal rule that I have for my job, and it's that whatever situation I am going through, whenever I get into my job place, I'm going to try to be as nice as I can to everyone. Yeah? That's my little bit of trying to take Christ into my workplace. Yeah? Sometimes it's easier than others, yeah? The thing is, there are some days when you have tough days at work, colleagues may treat you badly, unfairly, and you are about to give up. You are like, if only I answer how I am thinking I should answer. But you decide to show love. And that's a triumph, but the enemy makes you think, oh, you're foolish. People are taking advantage of you and you're not doing anything. Well, I was kind of going through that recently. But then on Friday or Saturday, yesterday, I went for my computer at night. Yeah? Was it Saturday or Friday? Friday or Saturday, I went for my computer at my job office, yeah? I arrived like at 10 p.m. or something like that, and I was just getting my computer ready, And then a colleague came to the office at 10 p.m., yeah? And I said, hey, what are you doing here? And he said, well, I'm just coming back from the pub. I'm picking my stuff. I'm going back home. And he was drunk, yeah? Seems like he had a good time at the pub. But when he was saying goodbye, he said, just let me tell you something. As you can notice, I'm a little bit drunk. And I'm like, oh, yeah. Surprise. But then he said, I just feel a little bit ashamed. And I said, but why? And he said, well, I feel ashamed to be drunk in front of you. And I'm like, but why? And he said, well, it's just that you have such high moral standards, and it just makes me feel. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And he said, well, even though I don't say it, and I wish I would be sober to tell you, but I really have you in a very high standard because you are always nice no matter what. And I want to thank you because you have set my moral standard now. And you have no idea how encouraging that was, because it's like all those times when it has been tough and I've tried to be nice, now it's actually making impact in some people. And one of the you may be thinking, well, that person was lying. Well, drunks don't lie. So I can be sure that was true, yeah? It was a complete honest. And it was really encouraging. So through your giving, through your demonstration of love, people can come to know Christ, yeah? And we have to remember that love is about giving, not about receiving, yeah? That's very important. It's really easy to forget because we are selfish by nature, yeah? But when we give, that's when we show God's love, yeah? Number 2, true love is not self-caring, but selflessly caring, yeah? And nowadays, what adults learn is that they have to take care of their own career, yeah? They have to take care of their own interests, yeah? We try to take a path in life that will benefit us, our careers, our relationships, or everything, yeah? And it's a very self-centered mentality, yeah? Everything, since we are little, since you take a 5-year-old into the school, that kid is taught you have to do good, you have to get good grades so that you can get a good job, so that you can get a good life. It's all about what you can get. Yeah? Very rarely you will be thought to be generous and giving to other people. Yeah? God, nowadays, being generous is also seen as being stupid. Yeah? As being silly, as being naive. Yeah? People may question, well, why do you keep giving money to that person if that person just uses you for money? You are naive. No. Don't fall into that lie. You are loving. Nowadays, it's really interesting. I was looking at statistics in America for divorces. And it happens that most people, the number one reason that people give for a divorce is because they are incompatible. That's another word for I'm selfish and I want it my way. Isn't it? Just think about it. And nowadays, that is seen as a valid reason to break one of God's covenants, one of God's important rules. God hates divorce. But nowadays, it seems that it's feasible. It seems that it's fair. I will separate. I will not be with this person anymore because that person doesn't meet my demands. Well, who says that person should be meeting them in the first place? It should be God, yeah? And again, I'm taking this in the context of relationships because it's Valentine's Day and it's easy to relate to them. But take these principles with any relationship that you have. Oh, you know what? I'm just not going to go to my parents' house anymore because it's just a disaster and they just make me angry. I'm not going to see them anymore. They don't give me any good. Well, it is not about what you receive, but what you give. Yeah? I remember when I was 14 years old, so naive, I used to watch a lot of, romantic movies and everything, and just because I wanted to be like, I want to be like the perfect guy and everything. And then I thought I knew everything about how to be, how to be romantic and how to keep a woman in love, even though I didn't meet any girl up until that point. But everything I learned from the movies, I said, oh yeah, love is about bringing flowers every day. It's about writing poems every day. It's about, and that's not true. True love takes out the garbage at night when it's cold. That's true love. True love is very servicial. Sonia is fantastic. Every single day, she has my breakfast ready. I can't believe that. It's amazing. In my wildest dream, I could have never dreamt about this. It's amazing. And, and we have to understand that when Jesus came, he came to serve us. He came not caring about it himself, but caring about everyone else. Yeah? We have to imitate that. Yeah? If we go to Mark 12:30 and 31, God says, love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind and with all your strength. The second, talking about the most important commandment, is this: love your neighbor as yourself. There is no commandment greater than this. It's simple. It's the golden rule. Whenever you want the Bible in a nutshell, just go to this one. And that's it. You've got it summarized. Yeah? Love the other person as you love yourself. Love selflessly. Love with everything. Yeah? Point number 3. Love is sacrificial. And that's where sometimes we struggle a lot. Yeah? Do you know the movie Titanic? James Cameron directed, yeah? Almost one of the most famous movies, yeah? You all know it, come on. I can be. You all have watched it. Well, if you remember this scene, one of the final scenes, the man called Jack Leonardo DiCaprio, he sacrifices himself, yeah? And he lets Rose be on the little table floating on the water so that she doesn't freeze. And he stays in the water so that she can live, and he will sacrifice himself for her, yeah? At the end, he dies, and he just gave his life for her to be able to enjoy her life and do whatever she wants. Nice story, right? He sacrificed himself for her. We see that, oh, what a great man he sacrificed. The same goes for men. We love those movies in which the guy makes an heroic act and sacrifices himself for the greater good. Have you watched Independence Day with Will Smith? Well, there is a guy called Russell. They are in the middle of the war, and they are fighting these aliens. And the mothership controls all the aliens. So if you destroy the mothership, you destroy all the aliens. But they cannot find a way to destroy the big ship. And apparently, you can only go in one of its points, but no plane has missiles anymore, so they cannot shoot at the ship. So one guy in a very heroic act comes with the plane and just crashes into the ship, and this guy dies, obviously, but he destroys the mothership at the same time, yeah? So he sacrifices for the greater good, for humanity, yeah? And everyone is like, yeah. Well, as a man, I say like, yeah, that's very good, yeah? See, he sacrificed himself for the greater good. Well, it's true. It's nice when people make sacrifices for the people that they care about or that they love. But think about Jesus and what we are taught in the Bible. I want you to go to Romans 5:7-8, if we can have it in the screen. Very rarely will anyone die for a righteous person. Though for a good person, someone might possibly dare to die. But God demonstrates His own love for us in this: while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. And while we see in the movies these guys doing these heroic acts of love, sacrificing themselves for the people that they care about, that they have strong feelings for, Jesus sacrifices himself for everyone who rejected him. Yeah? Just think about when he was in the cross. When he was in the cross, think about that Roman soldier that was beating him up, or that had beat him up. Jesus died for that very own man. Yeah? Think about a person that you may have conflict with at the moment. Think about that person that has not been very nice to you. Would you die for that person? Would you give anything for that person? Think about the person that has hurt you the most in your life. Would you die for that person? Probably your first answer is no way. Well, Jesus did, and that's what we are. That's the type of love that we are taught. It's dying not only for the ones that we have good feelings or a good history with, but all of those who actually we can't seem to get along very well with. And again, this is something that society will not tell you. Society even, or nowadays, everything will tell you, protect the ones that you love, even if you have to, harm the other ones. That seems like a logic statement, but it's not biblical. Yeah, by no means. Now, the fourth is, true love is hopeful and forgiving. Yesterday I went to the movies with Errol and my flatmate Joao, and we went to see a movie called Black Panther. Really good man movie, a lot of action, superheroes, and all that stuff that we love and women hate. And the bad guy was fueled by resentment. Yeah, and that was the whole plot. In a nutshell, the plot was that a guy was very resentful because he lost his father at a young age, and he essentially lived his life just to get vengeance. Yeah, and some people justify his actions in the movie, obviously, because he has supporters. And the thing is that at some point, I've seen some debates about this movie, and some people, nerds like me that really like to discuss these men movies, were thinking, no, but this bad guy, he was right because he deserved all the good, but he was betrayed, and his dad was murdered, and he gave the good guys what they deserved by trying to kill them and everything. And that sometimes seems like a good, like it's good to hold on to our pain and resentment and act upon it. It seems logical, yeah? The enemy makes it sound so logical. If that person hurts you, the only reasonable answer is that that person must be hurt. Yeah? And the Bible teaches us differently. We have to be forgiving and hoping that the future will get better. In Colossians 3:13, we have a beautiful verse. It says, bear with each other and forgive one another. If any of you has a grievance against someone, forgive as the Lord forgave you. Let me give you a tip. If one day you are questioning yourself, why should I forgive? Why in the world should I forgive? There may not be an easy answer, but there is one answer, and that is because God forgave you. And that's enough. That should be enough. Yeah? No, but Gabriel, you don't understand. This person is this, and maybe, yeah, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I believe you. But God forgave you. Christ forgave you. He died for you. Is that a good enough reason to forgive? Yeah. I'm not saying it's easy. Of course it's not easy. But it's the right thing to do. So we have to understand that forgiving someone is not a matter of justice. We are never meant to take justice in our own hands. Justice is for God to take care of. We are only meant to forgive. And that's it. I've seen also some romantic movies and any other movies where one person, a couple, for example, lives a difficult thing in their lives. They go through something difficult, and then one does something bad to another one, and they split up, and that person says, well, I could never forgive you for what you did. Oh, yes, you can. You don't want to, that's different. And the thing is, the society and Hollywood justifies this and says, yeah, that's true. That person hurt that other person a lot, so it's only logical. That person should or could have not forgiven that person. Not, yeah, that person could. Just that that person didn't choose to. And we have the choice. We have the choice. It is never late. It is never late. You have no idea the benefit of forgiving. One person said once, holding to our resentment is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. And the benefits of forgiving, oof, if I could put them into words, unfortunately I'm not that articulate, but if I could put them into words, I just would like to say that the benefits of forgiving, they free you completely. Yeah? When you forgive, I don't understand how this works, but when you forgive, your thirst of justice is fulfilled, is filled. And that's the God of love acting in you. So, remember to forgive. And the thing is that when you forgive, hope comes very easily. Because once you have forgiven, that means that you are hopeful for the future. If you have the capacity to forgive, you are like, well, if I can forgive, what am I afraid of? I have hope for the future. And true love has always hope. That's why true love never gives up. That's why Jesus never gives up on us. Because he's always hopeful. Think about the worst thing that you've ever done. The worst sin that you've ever committed. Well, after that, God had faith in you and hopes that you will do better next time. And I think that if people wrong us, we can expect the same from them. As I said, justice is not for us to take into action. And that has to kind of be logical, because justice is difficult to determine when something should be in a certain way. Just look at the legal system. There are many holes in the legal system that people exploit just because it's not perfect. And there are some ways in which the law judges some situations. It's not right. It's wrong. And we feel it that way. How many times have you been in a situation where you are like, I think the government should do differently this. I don't think this works. I don't think this is fair. Well, that's because when humans try to make justice for themselves, they fail. We don't have that capacity. We don't have that ability. We have to understand that. That's why God tells us justice is for me to take into action. We can't. We can't create. We can, if we want, we can create a million rules about a certain situation. There will be one situation where it's not so easy to apply them all rules. That's a legal system. That's why it's so difficult. So let's always forgive and hope. Yeah? And last point, true love always perseveres. True love always wins. We are the protagonists of the greatest love story of all. And no matter what your life is looking like, no matter what you think your life will look like, if you are a believer, you have won. At the end, you are loved, and the love story ends up good for you. God has already written our love stories. He died for us, and in the cross, He finished our story. He said, you are going to be loved by me. How amazing is that? It's amazing because we are in the greatest love story, and we already know that we are loved at the end. Jeremiah 31:3 says, I have loved you with an everlasting love. I have drawn you with unfailing kindness. How many of us can say those words? It's very difficult, but love has loved us with everlasting love. Everlasting. No person on earth is going to love us the way that God loves us. And that's amazing. The ending of our story, of our love story, is that God has finished loved us and He is with us. He torn apart the veil. He rescued us. Any analogy of any romantic or action movie where there is a love story, you can take it with Jesus as well. He came for us. He rescued us. He killed the bad guys, the enemy for us. Yeah, he gave himself for us. So, to summarize, true love is not about what we receive, but about what we get. Not about what we receive, but what we can give. That's wrong, obviously, at the end. Love is not self-caring, but selflessly caring. God is sacrificial. Love is hopeful and forgiving. And love is always triumphant. I just want you, at the end, when we pray, to think about how God loves you and all the things that God has done for you. Think about how many times love has forgiven you, how many times God has lifted you up. I want you to remember those stories in the Bible where Jesus did all those things for you and died for you. I want you to think of your favorite verse and relate it to God's love to you. And I'm sure that will encourage you to carry on the week. We are designed by God to be loved and to like love. Because He is love. Let's stand and pray.